welcome to Smashterpieces, a casual walk through the history of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. My name is Joe.
My name is Melanie.
I'm way too comfortable doing that intro extremely fast.
You speak fast all the time.
Do I?
Honestly, yeah.
I'll take your word for that. If you're new here, what we're doing on this show is we're playing one game for every character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from 1984's Duck Hunt to 2019's Fire Emblem Three Houses. And today is at last the final part of the game that is representing fighter number 70, Piranha Plant. Still one of the weirder entrants in the series.
I hope y'all are ready to open a can of worms tonight because, wow, I've had a time of it lately with this fucking game.
Oh, I fully expect it. It's 2004's Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for the GameCube, and of course, joining us is Zero.
Hi, what's up? Let's eviscerate this game.
We've hit the finish line. This episode is going to cover... I don't even remember what chapter we stopped at. 7 to the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 in Endgame.
7 to credit roll. So we hit the finish line.
Which is not a lot of the game.
It isn't, honestly. It's 3 chapters, but like one of the chapters is just the final boss is here. And that's it.
I mean,
that's
it's the whole final
chapter.
dungeon, which is long and arduous, and a lot easier when you kill everything in one hit.
That, okay, so I'm going to come right out and say it, that gameplay-wise, the end of this game sucks. It's not great. I think the walk to the X-Nauts base on the moon is awful.
It sure is.
Like, the whole fucking low gravity shit.
Especially when you miss the warp pipe and have to go all the way around the entire moon.
I think I accidentally found the warp pipe because I didn't even remember that that's what I was supposed to be doing.
I sure didn't.
I don't think the base itself is all that bad. It's short. There's nothing terrible in it.
It's not the worst, but it's also not really good. The way that it's laid out kind of makes it difficult to understand where the forward progression is, but whatever. It's not even the worst in the game.
And then the Palace of Shadow is too fucking long.
It really is.
It has at least 2 separate moments where it's like, oh, we finally hit the end of the dungeon. What do you mean there's basically another dungeon after this?
I remember getting to a point where I was like, okay, this feels about where this dungeon is ready to end. And then the game says, do 8 fucking puzzle rooms.
See, I like that, but I like that area, the little castle in the middle of the moat, but that's where the dungeon should end.
Yeah, it keeps going after that.
That should have been the end of the fucking dungeon. Because there's so much more after. There's a whole second dungeon after that, and it's too long. It's too fucking long.
One of the biggest problems with this game, I would say, is that it is definitely longer than it needs to be.
Okay. I've been thinking about the way to phrase this. I think this game suffers from what I like to call GameCube bloat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's a lot of padding in this game. Like blatant padding.
Yeah, that's the GameCube era for you.
And it's so clearly just like we've talked about all the backtracking that happens in other chapters, and like that's blatant padding, like just straight up.
The fact that there's like 3 different rooms in this one dungeon that's just, here's some bullet bills, have fun.
Fuck those rooms so much. Oh, I hate those rooms so much.
The one that got to me was not the bullet bills, but the frickin' I want to say the fire room, because if you screw up once, you're all the way back at the beginning. Just the fire platforming bit.
Is the Palace of Shadow, is that the one with, like, the one room with the spike floor that, like, comes up when you get close to it?
I'm not sure.
You're walking down a hallway, and when you get close to a spot on the grid that has spikes, the spikes come up, but you cannot tell that is a spot. Fuck that room.
Yeah,
With every ounce of my being, fuck that room.
Yo, it's actually incredible. I'm looking at this now. I had such an overtuned build where I killed literally everything in one hit, and this dungeon still took me an hour and a half.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's too much. There's too much of it. But the thing that gets me the most about the Palace of Shadow is something that I realized at the very end, where I was standing in front of the door to go fight Shadow Queen. And I thought, if I could really use some more BP so I can put on, like, one more badge. Only to realize that what I had assumed would be there was not, which was a shortcut back to root. A shortcut back to rope.
I don't know why you assumed that. No other part of this game has had anything like this.
Because I've played so many JRPGs where that is a thing that you can do.
Have you played this JRPG? Because this game does not at any point respect your time that way. It never does anything like that. The only time it does is in chapter 5, the island, whichever one that
5.
is. Because it forces you in the story to immediately double back. That is, like, this game never, ever gives you shortcuts for anything.
I just personally believe it should be standard, regardless of what kind of RPG you're making, that you should at least be able to easily go back and, I don't know, get items out of storage.
I think that's expecting more of this game than it deserves to be expected.
It's not just something I expect of this game, it's something I expect of this genre.
I don't know why. I can think of a lot of JRPGs that don't do that. Especially ones that are this old.
I just consider it something that should be there, especially when... Well, the thing is, it's not as noticeable in other RPGs if it's not there, because other RPGs regularly use fucking random encounters, so you can just go out and grind. So if you want to grind at the end of Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, before you go fight the final boss, which is known to be a huge difficulty spike, if you've already killed all the enemies on your way in, they're gone. Completely. They do not respawn unless you leave the Palace of Shadow, which means you have to walk your ass all the way back to the Thousand Year Door, and that's not worth it.
Well, you see, you made the classic mistake of upgrading your health at any point in this game.
I needed that. I needed that health. I needed to be able to keep blood in my body.
So that's the thing, Joe. Genuinely, you should have gone for the Danger Mario build because it is substantially easier. Like, literally, the difficulty level of the game goes way down.
I think it's just that I don't trust myself to be able to do the action commands well enough. That's the thing.
What action command do you need when you're doing 20 damage per hit?
The one that makes you not die instantly when Shadow Queen looks at you.
Okay, so that's why you have Koops put the shell over you.
Koops isn't real. Like, definitionally, he's not real. He's a character in a video
saw
game.
you do that final fight. You used Koops.
So here's the thing. Finally, me and Melanie had the thing where, like, we had played this game before, but neither of us had ever actually, like, beating Shadow Queen, because I still think she's a pretty big difficulty spike, but I'm pretty happy with myself of being able to beat her second try. Granted, I was in a call with multiple people who were helping me along. So I don't give the credit entirely to myself, but
I think you learned, which was a big thing. Like, you learned what her deal was and how to counter some of her shit. So I think that helped.
I do think I like the boss fight a little bit more than I did before. That being said, there are parts of that boss I still really don't like. Her health absorption shit. I think it just does too much. If it healed just a little bit less health, but then, you know, it would do less damage, and they want the final boss to be hard, and I get that. I just don't personally like that mechanic having that much power when I'm not using it. That's the important part. I need to be using it if it's going to be strong.
I wouldn't know about her mechanics.
But otherwise, like, yeah. And also, one thing I didn't know when I played this before, I didn't know about Koops' shell stuff, because I don't think I had Koops upgraded for the second time.
It's really good, honestly. Like that. Here's the thing: people always say that like Vivian's the one to have out to avoid damage. No, she really isn't. It's Koops.
I started with Vivian because Vivian has an ability that ignores defense, which helps. But otherwise, yeah, when Vivian was dead, it was Koops time.
I'm pretty sure you can upgrade Koops before you even get Vivian. And to that extent, he's kind of better.
You can, because you can get the Shell Shield is just his first upgrade. So you get that pretty, like, the moment you get that, it's basically over.
Oh, I just never used it the last time I played then. I did not realize that was an ability he had. I probably realized it, I just didn't know what it did, and then never bothered to use it. That sounds like me.
You gotta, like, read these abilities, dude.
Yeah, because there's some fun stuff behind, like, a lot of the partners that just need to be used. Like, what's it called? Like, the Yoshi's mini egg. For certain bosses, he'll just shrink them and reduce their stats.
So, look, here's the thing. This show's been going for 6 years, and the thing you should have learned at this point is that I can't read.
I'm very aware. Apparently that's not the stream tax. You just can't read.
And that I can't, like... I've been faking it this entire time. This can't even be the first time I've confessed this on this show. I guarantee I've done this exact bit. But yeah, I expected to have a way, way harder time with Shadow Queen than I did this time. I don't think I had the makes you immune to poison badge when I fought her last time. And boy, that makes a fucking difference.
I didn't have that one this time.
Oh, God, it makes a difference. Unfortunately, I didn't have the partner version, so anybody I was hanging around with during the fight was not immune to any of it. Also, that's the funniest part about using Koops. So, like, with Vale... like, both of them avoid damage. But with Koops, he puts a shell over you, and then she uses her massive shockwave attack, and sorry, Koops, the shell's taken. Shell's full. you don't get any of this.
Koops still survived most damage for me, though, so...
I don't think Koops died by the end of my... If he did, then I switched directly to Bobbery, because Bobbery had the most health of any of them.
Yeah, for some reason, he's like really tanky.
Yeah, he has 40 health, while everybody else, even when fully upgraded, only had 30.
He's a veteran. He's used to this shit.
I feel like longevity.
He's seen
is
the horrors of war.
Longevity is like the opposite of what a bomb is supposed to do.
Wow, that's a very short-sighted view of bombs.
I agree.
And all of our bomb listeners are going to... What am I saying?
Hey, Joe, how much of the Flavio glitch did you see?
I saw little bits and pieces.
That epilogue.
Well,
that fucking epilogue.
You gotta look at this clip of going to the moon.
Okay, you've sold me with the description already. Going to the moon does sound like a funny thing to watch Flavio do. Why are the bob-ombs Russian?
Because it's winter.
I mean, I guess. Okay, that's pretty good. Flavio just
Wait,
being
hold
like
on.
a... Okay, walking in from off screen's pretty fucking good.
It's really good.
Okay, that's really fucking good.
It's like, hey, what took you guys so long?
Like, the cutscene waited for him to walk in, too. That's amazing.
It's really good.
I think a lot of the epilogue stuff with him is pretty good. Just the...
But speaking of cutscenes, that's actually a great segue into my actual biggest problem with Shadow Queen is, man, we sure didn't realize, they sure still had not learned that unskippable cutscenes suck. Huh.
They did not. That's correct.
And they probably still won't for a while in this timeline.
Christ.
Gonna level with you.
Joe, here's the clip of what happens to Flavio in the credits.
Beautiful.
Speaking of the credits, I've spent 20 years wondering what the credits of this game looks like because Paper Mario 64 had amazing credits. This game's credits are boring and suck.
That was also just a product of its time, though, too. Like, I can't think of a single game of that era that has fun credits.
But it's just like, why is so much of this game not as good as the first one?
The first one doesn't have a noose in it. As far as we know.
It also doesn't have transphobia.
I mean, there is that. But back to the noose thing.
If the Flavio glitch is not in the remake, what's the fucking point?
I am genuinely sure it will not be. But God, if it is, then you know what? They're not total cowards, and that's great. But it's definitely not going to be in there.
Speaking of, is it time for me to talk about this bullshit?
Yeah, I will hand you the reins now.
Yeah, here's your soapbox, here's your mic, have fun.
Alright, I gotta say, first of all, the trans community is not a monolith. My opinion is not like the objective correct opinion for like how you should feel about this, and I have spoken to other trans people who disagree with me. But on that note, if you're not trans, you don't get to be the one to tell me I'm wrong. Just putting that out there. So the end of this game and the way that Vivian is treated is such a fucking ticking time bomb for like the end, for how the remake is going to handle her, because it actually looks like they're going there in the remake, that they are undoing the change, and they are keeping Vivian a trans woman. It's not confirmed yet, but it does seem to be the case. And the thing about that is that Vivian is subject to transphobic remarks throughout the game, and people will often say that the justification for this is that it's only ever villains who are shown to be in the wrong who are doing that. That is false. It is factually not true. The game's user interface says, and I'm quoting, a former member of the Shadow Trio. He may look like a girl, but he's actually a boy. Goombella's battle description of Vivian says, it's Vivian, a member of the Shadow Trio and the youngest sister. No, wait, brother. It is blatantly, completely false to say that only bad people who are shown to be wrong disrespect Vivian's gender identity in the original game. So, where does that bring us now? Well, the Goombella and the game's user interface saying those things is very easy to fix. What is far less easy to fix is that at the end of the game, Vivian returns to her abusive sisters with no indication that anything has changed, besides Goombella saying, Beldum promised to me that she would never be mean to Vivian ever again. And first of all, Goombella, you're the only other character in the game who explicitly misgenders Vivian in dialogue, so what the fuck is your word worth? But second of all, that was supposed to be a joke. You can laugh at that one.
I've never laughed at a joke a single time in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
But second of all, that is just a blatantly ridiculous plot point for something to go with, because, like, abusers famously never lie to witnesses about their abusive actions. Beldum is never shown on screen to have any remorse for any of her actions. She is never shown positively interacting with Vivian in any meaningful way. This entire thing happens off screen. And that cannot happen in the remake if Vivian is being retained as a trans woman in the story, because it gives the impression that we owe our abusers forgiveness because, and I'm quoting the exact words of the game here, family is important. And I need everyone to know at this point that the reason I'm using a fake last name on NWR and for this podcast is because I'm terrified of my family finding out. I do not feel safe with the idea of them knowing, and I am unable to comfortably change my legal name because there's no way to do that without them knowing. So there is a lot of baggage around the idea of family being important to me, and seeing this game kind of straight up say to my face that I need to accept my family and not the other way around. That's some bullshit. And I need people to understand that the original Japanese script is not sympathetic to Vivian as a trans woman. Blatantly. And so, I am not confident that this is going to be handled better in the remake, because her entire ending scene needs to change, or else it's not good. It's really bad. And I feel like it's easy for people to say, well, what was Nintendo of America supposed to do? And that's not a valid concern. Nintendo is Nintendo. They shouldn't have put out a game with this in the first place. And if they don't fix it, then that's a choice to release a game with that stuff in 2024. I hope that they fix it. I genuinely, really hope that there is nothing to worry about. But the track record's not good here. And people also try to say, well, this is a game for children. You know, is it going to go into themes that are that heavy? And my answer to that is, if it's a game for children, it needs to be really clear on where things stand. Because what lesson are children getting from this ending where Vivian forgives her abusers for no other reason than that they share blood? And it's just a lot for me to be scrolling through social media and seeing people celebrating inherently a screenshot of Beldum being what appears to be transphobic towards Vivian, because it means that Vivian's story is not being altered from the Japanese. And, like, I know that it's a joke when people say that they're celebrating transphobia being back, but to some extent, that's how it does feel. And I am really uncomfortable with the conversation around this game right now. I do not like where this is, how this is being talked about. And again, this is my opinion alone. But it's just it's a lot to just have to witness this happening like this. And it's just such a terrible end cap to all this, because I spent so much time with this game being disheartened by the fact that I'm not enjoying it. And I started to wonder if I should be feeling guilty for that, because people were very clearly upset that I was not liking it and that I was saying bad things about it. And I started to wonder if maybe I was being too harsh on it. And then I get to that ending. And I don't understand how in 20 years of discourse over this character being a trans woman, over whether or not her story was properly told, or whether it was wrong to erase that, why have I never heard that once? Why has no one single time, brought up this ending in any conversation that I've seen? And I don't even know where to go from that, because this conversation just doesn't happen anywhere.
The only input that I would have, which is not actually,
I don't even know how to reconcile that
content.
And that's how I feel about this fucking video.
When this comes up, a lot of people do make the argument of, oh, I don't think there was explicitly malicious intent behind it. But here's the thing about intent and interpretation. When it comes to art, they're separate things. 3 people can look at any work and have completely different interpretations of what it is supposed to be saying or doing or whatever. And it's highly possible that all 3 of those don't even match what the original author intended.
Yeah, I'll say also, bigotry does not require intent. It just becomes ignorance without intent, and ignorance is just as harmful. If you do something transphobic or homophobic or racist or misogynistic or any other form of bigotry, and you didn't intend to do it, you still did it. And so the response should be to apologize and to do better. And that's the infuriating thing in this conversation. Not that I don't think they're going to do better, because we don't know. The remake's not out yet, and I want to make that really clear. I don't know if the remake is going to do right by this. But the fact that it's taken on faith that it will, they haven't earned that faith, because they haven't done it right yet.
I don't know how to transition from this.
Well, good, because that's my job. So, anyway, how's the music?
Honestly, the only song that really sticks out to me from this part is, hey, the music in the X-Nob space is a fucking jam. Like, it's really simple, but fuck is it, like, if the dungeon was any longer, it would start to get grating, but I think the dungeon's just short enough that it doesn't hit that point.
Yeah, this is pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I consider that song to be a fucking jam. It's super good.
Hey, Joe, do you remember when we did that bonus episode on Sonic Adventure 2, and we talked about how each character kind of had their own distinct music style that all of their stages stuck to?
Vaguely.
So the Shadow Queen fight, Phase 2 specifically, is a Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow the Hedgehog stage.
I don't remember enough about that game's soundtrack overall, except for Live and Learn.
That's all I have to say. I feel Shadow's stages from Sonic Adventure 2 in this song.
But I'm thinking about it, and did we ever give a shout out to another one of, I think, the best songs in Mario RPGs, which is fucking Rogueport?
I don't know if we did.
I'm genuinely thinking back, and I don't think we ever talked about Rogueport.
Well, now you're talking about
Now
Rogueport,
we're talking
so-
about Rogueport. That song
It's
rules.
good.
It's
It's a
so
good hub
good.
theme.
And also, if you... does anybody else... Okay, is it just me? Look, is it just me? Does anybody else have Mario jump with, like, the rhythm?
I mean,
Just me?
occasionally,
Okay,
I guess.
I
But,
do
like,
it
with
all the
specifically
time.
with this song, or just like in general?
Specifically with this song.
Nah, I would not say specifically with this song.
Honestly, I tend to more just kind of use Yoshi than jump around. So
Yeah, me too. I don't do... That would be weird.
I mean, I do sometimes, but like, there's nothing about this song in particular. Like, not more than any other song.
Yes, you are correct. It would be odd if there was... shit. How do I get out of this? Music.
Zero, you got any music to talk about?
most of my stuff was from from kind of that middle section.
Yeah, I think the middle section is largely where most of the really, really, really good stuff lives.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to pick one, maybe I forget. Did we put up Bowser's theme from Bowser's Battle theme?
You know, I don't think we did.
Yeah, well, now because I guess now you get to really hear it since that you get your actual fight with him.
That fight's fun, by the way. I do like that fight. I also think the Grotus fight is fine, I guess. I don't like his mechanic with the like shield like children that he brings out, but also I don't like that and the enemies that do that either, so that's not really a Grotus specific thing.
It really narrows down how a turn can go.
Yeah, I think my way of dealing with that just ended up being, all right, Vivian, do Fiery Jinx again. Cool, they're all dead. Awesome. Now Mario will jump. And it worked. He died. So,
yeah,
fuck it.
I can't really say much on that because I kind of have a different experience from the end of this game.
Yeah. As it turns out, Danger Mode's kind of a broken build.
Broken doesn't begin to describe. I've seen some of the fucking clips.
Yeah, so why didn't you use Danger Build?
First off, I still don't fully understand what it means.
Okay, so do you know the Power Rush badge, I think it's called?
Yeah, it basically, whenever you are in danger mode, which is less, like your health is at 5 or below, there are a bunch of badges that will either increase your attack, increase your defense, increase your evade chances, just a lot of shit is compatible with that, and they cost almost nothing.
Yeah, so specifically the Power Rush badge, when you're in danger mode, you get +2 attack power. I think it's 2, right? And it's 1 BP, and you can get an unlimited number of them in the game. And the game has a built-in function to permanently reduce your maximum HP to 5, so you are always in danger. Then you throw on a couple close calls so that enemies miss all the time. And you'll kill everything in one hit, and nothing will ever hurt you.
Yes, so straight up, because of the means that you can you could literally grind for as many Power Rush badges as you want, because you can just buy them in the casino for super cheap. And
this does not sound like something that got extensively playtested.
I don't know if they intended for you to ever, I don't think they thought logically about why they allowed this, but
can you imagine what'll happen if they remove this build in the remake?
People will have to learn how to play the game.
You're giving Nintendo fans too much credit. I've never seen them learn how to play a single game, and I'm including myself in that sentence. I think I had one of those badges, and it was the partner one specifically. I never used the casino. I didn't really do a lot of side shit around Rogueport.
The only thing the casino is good for is getting the Power Rush badge.
Yeah.
The only side stuff I did in Rogueport were the stuff I needed to get Miss Mouse, and then Miss Mouse literally never came out in a fight a single time.
I mean, same for me, but she was critical to the Flavio glitch, so I had to get her.
I just got her for the sake of getting her.
I did use her occasionally when I saw that if an enemy had a badge I wanted to steal. So I would pull her out for that just to quickly steal it.
I take that back. She came out one time, and it was because it was my first attempt at...
wasn't it during
my
your
first
desperation?
attempt at Shadow Queen, and she was the last partner still alive.
Yeah, it was your desperate,
And I'm pretty sure Shadow Queen killed her in one turn, so she didn't last very long. So, actually, I'm wrong. She did see a fight one single time. Congratulations, Ms. Mouse. You really, really pulled it together there at the end. Really made the room come together. And then die.
I was gonna say it feels like one of those like Nuzlocke things where you pull in a spare body just to take a hit. That's kind of how it feels that Miss Mouse was to you. You just pulled her in just to take a hit.
Christ.
That sounds about right. That sounds like something I would do.
Joe, I'm so sad I don't get to watch you play video games anymore.
Video games aren't real, actually. This entire show has been fake. I haven't actually been releasing these. Every person that's said they've listened to Smashterpieces has been me on a sock puppet account. Why is that the only bit I could go for nowadays? That things just don't exist. Unfortunately for you, listener, this show does exist. Or fortunately? People say fortunately. I don't believe you
That's
yet.
okay. No one's
but...
still listening. My Vivian rant was 10 fucking minutes. I'm looking at the waveform now. Christ.
When I put out that poll about which will happen first, us playing Three Houses or climate change ending the world, Fire Emblem did narrowly win.
I'm glad that for the final part of this game that almost killed the podcast, we decided to just alienate everyone. Or at least I did. I guess I didn't really give you a say in that.
Look, they've already passed the trial of alienation.
Not me though. I kind of just stuck around for like 8 months.
They already passed the trial of alienation, and that was our entire time with Earthbound. Because a bunch of people who liked Earthbound had to listen to us sit there and go, Earthbound fucking sucks.
Looking forward to Mother 3.
I get the feeling that...
I am.
I was going to say, Mother 3's coming up.
It's not long till we get there.
Don't worry. There are plenty of games that you guys will rip into, and it will be ever so fun to hear reactions of, no, but you should have done this.
Oh! You know what? I need to upset people again. Because I just remember something I said on stream.
But you've already met your quota.
You know that bit in the Shadow Queen fight where it's like, oh, you're getting like the Spirit Bomb energy from everyone that you've met throughout your journey?
You mean that cutscene I was forced to watch twice because it's unskippable?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember it.
So this is a sentence that I said on stream that I never expected to say before that stream. Earthbound did it better.
But legitimately, Earthbound did do it better. Like, I hate
Earthbound
that
did
fucking
it way
game.
better.
I fucking hate that game,
Holy
but like,
shit.
Earthbound does that same concept way better.
Like, it's just Nintendo doing it again, but worse this time.
No, this time I was gonna say this time it's intelligence systems doing it. That's the difference.
They're both just ripping off Toriyama. Toriyama is the only person who has ever had a character collect energy from multiple people or get help from multiple people to defeat an enemy. Nobody else has ever done that. It is purely a Goku thing. Prove me wrong. 'Cause here's the thing, and I'll say that about this game too. I have a lot of qualms with this game, and I have a laundry list of qualms with Earthbound, but there are things both the games do well. Like, I think we've talked about in the past, it's just way easier to talk about, like, critiques than it is to go on long conversations about things that games do well. That's just unfortunately a part of talking about video games.
I just would be a lot more forgiving of Thousand Year Door if 64 didn't exist, because most of my problems with Thousand Year Door are specifically things that 64 had already done well. Like the fact that every single fucking chapter in the game you get to through the sewers really hurts the idea that...
there are two that you don't use the sewers. Okay. Checkmate.
There's two. Yes, there's two. But like there's... Like, it hurts the believable, coherent map of the world. It doesn't feel like you're actually exploring the world. It feels like you're in a bunch of sectioned off levels. 64 was really good about letting you actually, like, travel the world.
Though, to be fair, the way you get to flower fields is a door appears in a circle of flowers.
And, like, Chapter 1 of Thousand Year Door is way too similar to Chapter 1 of 64. Chapter 2 of Thousand Year Door sucks. Chapter 3 of Thousand Year Door is incredible. I have no notes on that. Chapter 4 of Thousand Year Door kind of sucks. Chapter 5 of Thousand Year Door is very similar to Chapter 5 of 64. Like, every time this game does something that I don't hate, it's just... 64, I just like 64 better. I think it does all the things that I want more than this game does.
But it wasn't on the GameCube. God's perfect console.
Yeah, it wasn't on one of the worst-selling Nintendo systems, so less people played it, I guess.
Hey. The N64 is their best-selling system? Source me.
Okay. N64 is not that much better than the GameCube. Let's cool our jets a little bit there.
You could say all you want about the game noob, but leave the 64 out of your mouth.
The GameCube is lucky that the Wii U exists to make it look good. Anyway, now that we've offended everyone listening,
I feel like we could still get a couple in there.
Now that we've offended everyone who has a point of view on anything,
Melee is just okay. Anyways, I'm kidding. It's that's a joke. I can't even say that. I will get stabbed by somebody we know specifically. So yeah, Thousand Year Door. I still overall liked it fine. But I cannot say, I don't think I liked it as much as I did the first time I played it, for sure.
I've made my stance very clear, and I don't think people want to hear it more.
I will just say, I enjoy how the game plays. The overall structure and format has problems, but I think combat is mostly an improvement over 64.
The only problem I have with the combat is the random events. That's it. Those can eat shit.
And you know what? We have confirmed they are coming back, so
great.
Because we've seen videos of it, so it's like, oh, cool.
I mean, I didn't expect them to take that out, but man, they're annoying. They're really fucking annoying. And also some of them sometimes, I don't think some of them are actually random. Some of them feel like they exist to punish you for using specific attacks. Like, specifically, the mist sure does seem to activate almost every time I use hammer. Like,
I mean, no, the mist is just that annoying.
It's to be fair, you can get rid of the mist quite quickly. It is actually possible to manually get rid of it. If you use Bobbery's attack, when Bobbery explodes, the mist goes away 100% of the time. So there is a way to get rid of it, at least. You can't get rid of a Shy Guy jumping on stage and dropping a stage light on you.
Well, you can action command to guard the stage light.
How about I action command that Shy Guy into a lake?
Joe, skill issue.
No, I think my point still stands too. You just put him in a bag, you swing him over your head, and you throw him directly into the nearest lake. I've solved the problem. Until the next Shy Guy shows up.
You solved Shy Guys.
Solved all Shy Guys. It'll take a while, but eventually we will get them all in that lake. It'll actually take forever because they'll probably just swim out of the lake when they've been thrown in. Because that's how lakes work. But by God, am I determined. We'll see who breaks first. It will be me. I'm frail. Anyways, I think that just about does it for talking about
I think so.
Thousand Year Door. Zero, thanks for joining us for this almost year.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay rent. That's great.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that, actually. They're about
Too late. You're
they're
already
about to
evicting
shut
me.
off the power in the podcast department that exists now. So if you could just like,
Sucks to suck. I did all my power stuff like months ago.
all right, but unfortunately, this is the part where we have to toss you in the well with the rest of the guests. We'll send you down with some food. They haven't eaten in 8 months, so
I'm just gonna say it's fine. I will crawl out like Sadako, and someday you will understand and suffer.
anyways, bye Zero.
Whatcha?
That was a different kind of yell than I'm used to. Well, with that taken care of, hey, Melanie, do you think there's any phase on in that well?
You said that with the cadence of it like being a pun, but it wasn't.
Look, I don't get paid to write jokes.
Evidently.
It's time to move on to our next game at last. And it is the game representing Fighter 4 Epsilon. That's right, we're at another Echo Fighter. Who was the last Echo Fighter we did a game for?
Oh, fuck, I have no idea. It was a while ago, actually.
Richter, was
It
it?
was Richter. It was Richter.
Holy shit, that was so fucking long ago.
That was a lifetime ago.
Jesus. Anyways, 4 Epsilon is Dark
We weren't
Samus.
with NWR then.
Were we not? Holy shit, we weren't.
The first game we streamed for NWR was Earthbound.
Jesus Christ. Who's the next? Okay, the next Echo Fighter we do is Ken. And that's not that far away, but Jesus.
That's a normal distance, yeah.
That's like an entire universe away. Fuck. Anyways, that fighter is Dark Samus, and representing her, we have the 2004 GameCube title Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Echoes.
The good Metroid Prime.
Echoes. You get it? Because
Yeah,
echoes.
I
You see, in the Greek
true.
myth of Echo,
So, Joe, I sympathize with your burnout and your, like, hesitance to stream. This was a bad time for that, though, because I feel like you kind of need a stream chat helping you out for Metroid games.
I mean, you've talked about possibly wanting to co-pilot that. I'm still worried if my computer is currently in a state where it can stream, period. But
I think it can.
being able to play games off of hardware should theoretically really help.
Yeah, because you got the Trilogy disc, right?
I have the Trilogy installed on a Wii U.
Okay, even better. And we also have the F-Zero GX method, too, so...
That is also true, correct. And I might have to use that because I don't think I can play the Trilogy version because my room is
Really?
severely not set up for pointer controls.
Oh, that's gonna be so interesting then, seeing you use the GameCube controls for the first time.
I'm going to try and get it to a point where pointer controls can work, but...
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. Obviously the game was made for the GameCube controls. So, like, they are not bad. They are even, one might say, good. The thing about it for you specifically is that the game's not balanced for the pointer controls, and the pointer controls make it easier than intended. So...
Wasn't that the same case for the first game?
Yes, it was. So...
See, I'm fine with that. I have no shame. There's no shame in this heart.
There's also one particular boss fight that in the GameCube version was way harder. Way, way harder.
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to get Trilogy to work, because, like, I spent money on it.
Yeah, true.
I might as well use it. But the problem is, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to get my room to work with one. Like just loading up the like Wii menu is a struggle every time.
Joe, if you get used to the GameCube controls, then we can play the multiplayer.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to mention, is that this game has multiplayer.
It was the style of the time, and this game came out on the same day as Halo 2.
And, like, this isn't the first, like, game in a while we've played with multiplayer. Like, obviously, F-Zero has multiplayer. Pokemon technically has multiplayer. But, oh god, I don't know what the next game we had that had multiplayer before that. It was Dr. Mario 64. Jesus Christ. But like...
Star Fox Assault has multiplayer.
Star Fox Assault does have multiplayer. What's the game after that has multiplayer on the list?
Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
Technically Wii Fit. We won't eat... Granted, curtain pull aside. No fucking idea how it's going to work still. If it even is.
It might not be streamable. Like, in any form.
Honestly, that's kind of what I think is going to happen too. But we'll talk about that when we get to it.
It's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, we could put together some edited thing like with Animal Crossing, but do you really want to see like a 2-hour edited video of us like checking in on a scale and then doing random calisthenics?
I don't know. I think that could be fun for me. But also, yeah, I don't know. We have no fucking idea how that's gonna work. And we'll talk about that more when we get to it. But technically, Wii Fit does have multiplayer. I think.
Okay, this is not super relevant. Let's run down the list of like every future multiplayer game here. So we got Metroid Prime 2, we got Star Fox Assault, we've got Brawl, we've got Street Fighter 4, Pokemon Platinum. I think Superstar Ultra has it, but who gives a shit about whatever weird mini game mode that has?
I will.
Punch-Out has it, but
Punch-Out has it, but who gives a shit? That's not what Punch-Out's
well,
about.
Did that game exclusively have motion controls?
No.
Okay, then we could do that one, I think.
Punch-Out specifically, the motion controls are a secondary thing because... Sorry, everybody. Because they suck, but also because when they were designing the control scheme, they were specifically designing it to be as close to the NES pad as they possibly could. Mm-hmm. So it's sideways remote.
Wii Sports Resort does, but we would need to physically be in the same room to do that multiplayer.
Yeah, I still don't know how the fuck we're going to do that shit.
I mean, are we planning on being together for it?
Maybe. We might have to.
Okay. Minecraft is multiplayer. Does Pokemon Conquest have multiplayer?
I don't think so.
Kid Icarus Uprising had multiplayer. Maybe by then it'll Pretendo Network will be up and running.
Is the Pretendo Network already up and running?
No. Speaking of Pokemon X and Y.
Yeah.
We got Tekken 7.
Technically Tropical Freeze does, but that's another, like, we'd have to be in the same spot. Because it technically has co-op.
Yeah. Tekken 7, then we got Splatoon, which we don't even need Pretendo Network. We can just play whatever the most recent Splatoon game is at the time. They're all the same fucking video game.
For multiplayer, yeah.
Animal Crossing is whatever the fuck we're gonna do. Pokemon Sun and Moon, ARMS, and I think that's the final multiplayer game on the list, besides all the Smash Bros. Games.
I think you are right. I think you are correct. I don't see anything else that sticks out to me.
I'm sure someone's going to let me know that Star Fox Zero has multiplayer.
When is the Persona 5 multiplayer?
Breath of the Wild has multiplayer.
Anyways, Metroid. I've heard this game's a nightmare compared to the first one.
Well, so here's the thing. Depending on what kind of gamer you are, It's either clearly the best of the trilogy or clearly the worst of the trilogy. And Joe, I am very sorry to say that I can tell you exactly what the criteria is for the dividing line. How difficult do you like your video games?
I don't think I need to answer that question. We have 6 years of a video game podcast to cover that.
You are going to hate this game.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
But I think it's the best in the trilogy. So.
And also following this, we'll probably at some point do 3 as a bonus episode. So we might as well.
Yeah.
Like, we might as fucking well. But.
So, I also wrote down that maybe we could do this one as a multi-parter, especially if you're not going to stream, so we can kind of get your feelings along the way.
Personally, I don't think this is the type of game that will lend itself well to multi-parters, but I also, again, I have not played it.
Oh,
so
it's extremely segmented into 3 areas.
I see. Yeah, that I would take your guidance on that. You have played it, I have not. So
yeah, it's like you do this area, then you do this area, then you do this area, and then it's cleanup.
Okay, interesting. So maybe then we'll see if it ends up needing that, which sounds of it would at least lend itself mostly well to doing it if need be. But yeah, I don't know. It's up in the air whether or not there will be multiple parts for this game. But we'll see.
Yeah. I'll also say, like, if you find yourself being like, oh, I actually enjoy this, I'm having fun. I've been really nervous about how you're going to take the final boss of this game.
I genuinely thought that after saying, like, if you find yourself saying that I actually enjoy this game, it's really fun, I thought your next words were going to be, just wait.
Well, that's kind of what I am saying, because I am... Just be ready for the final boss.
This is a glowing endorsement.
Like I said, it all comes down to, do you like your games to be difficult? And I think it's a good, fair difficulty.
So, like, I should put this out.
But it is a high difficulty.
I should put this out there. I don't hate games being hard. I get frustrated very easily with games being hard, but I don't hate them being difficult. I play difficult games all the fucking time. It's just... and especially when on stream, streaming is very draining. So that makes it a lot easier to get frustrated. So we'll have to see how that goes if I do end up streaming. But yeah, I do want to make sure it is clear. I do not hate hard games. Like But I understand what you are getting at.
Also, have you heard the discourse of, like, the... I don't want to call it the Shadow Realm. That's not what it's called, but it's what my mind is calling it.
Yuki's in this game?
Yeah. Like the area where the atmosphere is poison, basically.
Oh, the Miyazaki's realm.
Yeah. It's just like... It's just like, what if there was... like a part of the game where every room is a superheated room, and there's bubbles of safety in it. For some reason, people think this is bad game design.
I guess we'll see how I land on that. It doesn't sound incredibly pleasant, but it depends on how it's implemented. Like, that's not a bad idea on principle.
I think it's implemented perfectly fine, honestly.
I guess we'll find out. I, as everybody knows, am the final decision maker on if video games are good or bad. So, I've established this very clearly. And everybody agrees with everything I've ever said about any video game we've ever talked about. Because the alternative is the death penalty. Now, I think that does it for a pre-show. I think that's good.
Yeah.
So,
Bit of a long one, actually.
hey kids, if you want to follow us on stuff, well, we're Smashterpieces on pretty much everything you can find. And by that I mean on Twitter and YouTube. And nowhere else. On YouTube, some things have changed, actually, since the last episode. So, Google is discontinuing Google Podcasts.
Google discontinued a service that people enjoyed? What? That doesn't sound like Google.
This show specifically has outlived 2 Google podcatchers, which is insane to me. But podcasts are now moving to YouTube Music, which means that I have the ability to hook the RSS feed from our website, which is anondino.squarespace.com, where you can find the direct RSS feed and direct downloads for all of our episodes. I can now hook that directly to a YouTube playlist, so that when an episode goes up, YouTube will then automatically generate a video version, which is pretty fucking good. That also means that if you're a YouTube-only listener, and you've been wondering what the fuck we're talking about when we talk about bonus episodes, those were originally pretty much just online or audio feed only, because the whole idea was that, well, we needed to put something up on the audio feed, and the YouTube channel never really had that problem.
I'd be so impressed if we actually have any YouTube-only listeners. Please say something if you are.
I'd be so impressed if we had anybody that realized we put the episodes on YouTube. But now everything is up there. All the bonus episodes, everything. So new episodes will show up day and date with the official uploads on YouTube. So if that's where you want to listen for some reason, have at it. I can't tell you how to live your life as much as I try. I have nothing else. That's pretty much it. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube, and you should do that. Sometimes I post polls like, what will happen first, the heat death of the universe or Edelgard? And people mostly vote for Fire Emblem happening first, but almost half still vote for climate change will kill us all first. That's the kind of quality content you can expect from @Smashterpieces on Twitter. And with that, my name's Joe.
My name's Melanie.
And we will see you next time for a discussion on Metroid Prime 2 Echoe.